Waiting for... Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? All right. Waiting for some more viewers to come in on the breaking news. Okay. All right. Hey, Jordan Sheridan live, skipping the countdown for obvious reasons. Let me know if you could hear me. Let me know if you could see me. Breaking news that I don't have a lot of nice things to say about. Joe Biden has chosen California Senator Kamala Harris as his vice presidential running mate. What can you say? What can you say? First of all, I think the right thing to do before we get to her ideology, before we get to the politics of it all, is say, a lot of people won't like me saying this, but I want to be fair. It is historic that this is the first time a black woman has been added to a national ticket. It is the third time a woman has been on a ticket. So regardless of what I think about Kamala Harris, which is not a lot, which we're going to get into, I do think it's a good thing and a historic thing that a woman of color will be represented on a national ticket. I think as a white person, I'd like to acknowledge that. Now, with that out of the way, thank you, Nazil, $5 in the super chat. Biden chose a bad cop, says it all. Yes, keep those super chats coming. Press that like button. Let's get this audience up. I honestly cannot think of a worse choice. I cannot think of a worse choice than Kamala Harris for Joe Biden to choose in a moment of national reckoning with race, in a moment of national reckoning with police brutality, in a moment of national reckoning with mass incarceration, in a moment of a national reckoning with unprecedented economic violence in addition to the physical violence towards black people. I can't think of a worse choice to excite young black voters. I can't think of a worse choice to depress the vote among Bernie Sanders supporters. I can't think of a worse choice among Latino voters because they're going to figure out what her record was as California's Attorney General and District Attorney, a San Francisco District Attorney. I really just can't think of a worse choice. On top of it, the politics of it, I can't think of a worse choice because, number one, she was a complete zero in her presidential campaign. I don't think she's a particularly inspiring speaker. I think she's a decent debater, but the vice presidents get one debate. I don't think she necessarily helps Biden swing Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin. California was not in question. And I think that she will excite the older African-American base that is more traditional and establishment in their voting. But Biden already had that block. What he didn't have locked up were progressives, young African-Americans under the age of 50, younger Latinos. I don't see Kamala Harris exciting any of those people. Since I'm live, thank you for the super chat. Gina Gal 9, $10. Haven't felt inspired by a presidential election for years and years. Andrew Birmingham, $5. Crime, building, and cop mala. Let's fucking get locked up. Oh, demonetized. There you go. All right. Bear with me because I am about to bring in a guest who has done extensive reporting on Kamala Harris. You're going to have to work with me because I'm going to have to set it up right now. So let me bring him in. Hold on. Hey there. All right. I'm adding you on the fly, so hold on. All right.
Jordan?
Yeah, 1 second.
Oh, fantastic. It works.
Walker. Hold on. I'm adding you. Walker. Okay. Walker. Background Walker. Woo. Options. That. A little of that. Let me make sure you can be heard. Advanced properties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Close. And what else do I got to do? Oh, edit transform. Edit transform. Scale to intervals. All right, I think we're good. Walker, give me a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so people can hear you. All right, I think we got it. So this is Walker Bregman. He is an independent journalist, does a lot for a lot of different outlets, and TMI with David Sirota. Thanks for that. So Walker, I don't know whether you were just in the mood to punish yourself last year or just had too much time on your hand. You spent a lot of time digging for old clips of Kamala Harris, I recall. You found, and Biden, you found some doozies, which I'm going to play some of them. No, this is not Johnny Depp. This is Walker Bregman. So I said before getting into the politics of it that I will say this as a white dude, you know, I think it's a good thing that there's a black woman on the ticket. So what are you, hold on 1 second. One second. Walker, advanced audio properties. Okay. So tell me, what are your initial thoughts on Kamala chosen as the vice presidential pick?
Well, I don't think it's particularly surprising for people who have been paying attention to this process. But I have to say, as somebody who's done probably more reporting on Kamala Harris in the last year than most, it's a little shocking from that side. I mean, Harris is somebody who was a tough on crime district attorney. She assigned senior prosecutors to handle cases of graffiti and vandalism and auto burglary. She went after the parents of truant kids. She boasted about bringing charges against a homeless mother of 3, and using that as leverage to connect her with social services. But you have to think that maybe there was a better way to connect this woman with the services that she needed than the criminal justice system. She had a program that she spearheaded called Back on Track, which is usually referred to positively. But I actually looked into the numbers of that program and found that the goal of the program was to eliminate prison overcrowding. by going after recidivism rates, which are reoffense rates. So if people who go to jail don't reoffend, then the prison population will go down. That was the logic. Unfortunately, this program, because of that, was misguided from the start, didn't reduce the prison population. What it did was threaten first-time nonviolent drug sales offenders with hefty prison sentences if they didn't plead guilty and go into this really grueling rehabilitation program that most failed out of, according to the numbers that I was able to get. Now, they weren't necessarily complete numbers, but they are the only numbers that we have available. And just given the scope of the program, it was never going to do anything about prison overcrowding. But if you're a politician looking for higher office, it's a great program because it allows you to say, I did something about it. And the graduates of this program have a lower reoffense rate than the non-graduates of the program, who happen to be the majority. So sorry, I'm rambling. Stop me.
So
someone stop me.
I want to reset for a second because we're going to get to Kamala Harris and all her policies. And the reason I wanted to have you on is you took the time to uncover a lot of clips, like dating back to 2010, that frankly were cringeworthy. Her speaking, but I want to talk to the audience and just set the bar on how important this pick is, because if the election were held today, I think Biden would win, based on the polling. I've looked at a lot of the polls. Some are BS, some aren't. But if it were held today, I think he would win. And why that's important is the Democratic Party just set up Kamala Harris to be the next president. Yep. Potentially, I mean...
in 2024.
No, I'm not mocking Joe Biden here. I'm not wishing him poor health. But there's a good chance, I would say a 50-50, that Joe Biden wouldn't finish one term. I'm not talking about death. I'm talking about if for whatever reason he had to resign. I've been talking for a year about what's right in front of our face. He's not all there.
I don't think it's particularly controversial, Jordan.
Yes, I don't think it's controversial.
I don't think it's very controversial.
So we're not really only talking about who's the vice presidential pick. We're talking about who the Democratic Party, when I say that, I'm talking Obama, who obviously is instrumental behind the scenes, the Wall Street, all of them. They are coronating Kamala Harris. Biden said, I'm a bridge. Well, they think the bridge should go to Kamala.
This is the future.
And press that like button. 600 people watching, 250 likes. So to me, Walker, and then I want to ask what you find most concerning, at a moment of national reckoning, not only on the physical barbarism we see with police, the murders, the executions, the punching people in the protesters in the face, just the military occupation. Not only that, but just the inherent racism and the elevation of that racism that has been exposed since George Floyd, even before George Floyd. They just chose Kamala as the vice president. I say that legitimately because nobody, other than Tulsi Gabbard, that moment on the debate stage, nobody really laid a glove on Kamala Harris on her record. And that's why they went after Tulsi Gabbard so hard. Trump, I could just see the ads now, and they haven't even come out yet. They're going to be playing a lot of the ads you found.
That kills me. Yeah. Because look, I'm going to say this, and I know that some people watching are not going to like it. Some of my audience, some of your audience won't like it, but Trump has to go. So it's not a matter of, for me at least, it's not a matter of sitting out the election. It's just this is the next fight. It's like a preview of this is the next fight. So anyway, setting that aside, that's just for me. Whatever, people make their own decisions. But look, Kamala Harris reminds me a lot of Pete Buttigieg in that she doesn't really seem to have a core ideology. This is something that became apparent after watching hours and hours of her speeches and interviews from as far back as you said 2009. Really, or 2008 actually is the first one I found. But this is not somebody with a core ideology. She tends to favor practical, small reforms that some of them are very good, like streamlining how things work in government. That there is a place for that. But right now, I think in this moment, and I think you might agree with this, Jordan, we need very big, sweeping, systemic reform from the top to the bottom, and that she is not really. I don't think Kamala Harris is capable in dealing in those terms.
Well, I actually tweeted out, I don't know when, maybe 2 weeks ago, that I thought there was two ways Joe Biden could, at this point, lose this election. The first one I said was during the debates, because there's 3 debates, and Bernie barely laid a glove on him one-on-one. Trump is going to go full on scorched earth, comparing, which one is more lucid right now, Trump. And I think Biden, the American people are very visual. So if people just tuning in for the first time that are not political diehards see Joe Biden stumbling all over the place, he could call it a stutter. We know that's not what we're seeing. That could really damage Biden. The second thing I said was if he picked Kamala Harris. And the reason I think this is so damaging, and this isn't because I'm trying to help Trump or hurt Biden, this is just what I see. I already see CNN claiming this is a big victory for Biden in terms of young people. That's the exact opposite.
Well, based on what?
This is going to, the constituencies that Biden needed to shore up were not older black women who were going to come out no matter what. I don't know of any older black woman that wouldn't come out, honestly, if it were like Gretchen Whitmer. Yeah, they'd be pissed, but they would come out. I don't think he needed older white men to come out. He needed black people under 50, Latinos under 50, white people under 50, which is Bernie's base. He needs to pick off independents, which I don't think Kamala Harris attracts independents.
This is somebody who dropped out of the race because she wasn't going anywhere. Somebody who came into the race,
who dropped out of the race
with
before,
so much excitement.
Wait a minute, dropped out of the race before California because she was going to lose her home state.
Right. Didn't get any delegates. This is not a candidate who, I mean, look, if this were a sane party interested in unity and really a direction forward, it would have gone with either the guy who got the second most delegates, who does appeal to all of those demographics that you talked about, or somebody along those lines, somebody in that camp who can credibly speak for that camp, a Rashida Tlaib, a Nina Turner type, somebody who is bold and, I don't think AOC would want it, and I think that a lot of people around the country might be a little wary of her jumping into that slot. She's very young, but someone like Barbara Lee could easily fill that. But anyway, we have Kamala now, and that's. I have to say, I'm a little anxious that the Trump campaign is going to start using some of the work that I did.
Walker, with all due respect, and I'm not poo-pooing your journalism, this is the Republican Party. They would have found it with or without you. So don't worry about that. Maybe the K Hive will come after you, but they're not. These clips that they're going to use are not. They're not using.
No, look,
it
it's all out there. It wasn't hard to find. This stuff is out there, but it's just, look, she's not the candidate for this moment, the VP pick that I would have gone with for this moment. She is somebody who is, not credibly in support of Medicare for all, which is supported by 87% of Democrats. She's somebody who is not credibly for defunding police. I mean, she built her career on prosecuting low-level offenses and looking the other way when it came to things like antitrust or police violence. This is the VP pick now, at a time with protests.
So I want a keyword, and I want to play this clip. You said credibly, right? Remember 2012? The Democrats tossed flip-flops on Romney. Let's take a little trip down memory lane, because a long time ago, in the past, Kamala Harris was supposedly for Medicare for all. Walker, I haven't mastered the tech where you could hear it, but this is from CNN's town hall right after Kamala Harris announced her campaign. Let's see what she said about what her beliefs were on health care.
Access to quality health care at an affordable price? And does that solution involve cutting insurance companies as we know them out of the equation?
I believe the solution, and I'm actually feel very strongly about this, is that we need to have Medicare for all. That's just the bottom line. And
I don't know if you heard that, but she said very firmly, I believe the solution is we need to have Medicare for all. Then, literally the next day, after Wall Street, which we're going to get to her Wall Street ties too, because her and Biden, two peas in a polluted pond, Wall Street got in her ear, and then all of a sudden, oh no, I didn't hear the question. Oh, I didn't hear. Remember during the debate, she said I didn't hear like 3 times, and then backtracked? That eventually evolved into I don't know what it was, some weird contraption that it wasn't Medicare for all who want it, Medicare extra, or I don't remember what it was. It was a convoluted plan that wouldn't have manifested until 10 years. She called it Medicare for all, but it really was just kind of a private-public partnership. The point is, she backtracked because, as the New York Times writes, and I'm just quoting directly from the New York Times in an article, what Kamala Harris believes, she writes, quote, I'm not trying to restructure society. I'm just trying to take care of issues that wake people up in the middle of the night. The New York Times went further and said that set of instincts, her preference for narrow, tactile proposals over grandly ambitious ones, her facility with procedure and unease with ideology defines her approach to politics, according to her closest aides. So between flip-flopping on Medicare for all in less than 24 hours, to her saying, I'm not trying to restructure society. By the way, at a time when over 50 million people have filed for unemployment, we're probably about to see a mass increase in homelessness. We're probably going to see an increase in permanent joblessness. And if Trump doesn't get his act together and the Democrats and Republicans continue this BS theater, we might have another depression on our hands. You have someone who the New York Times says has no ideology and has shown you through constant flip-flopping that she has no ideology.
Jordan, let me, if I could cite something to you. There's a video of Kamala Harris from 2008. She did this get out the vote, get voter excitement up series called If I Were President, where they got prominent people to say how the country would be different if they were president for 8 years. Keep in mind, this is as the global economy is beginning to collapse. It started in 2007. It was really, really kicking off. And Harris's answer was like, by the end of my 8 years, everyone will call themselves patriots and be wearing an American flag on their lapel. That is literally her answer. And we'll teach history better in schools. Like the most generic bullshit answer anybody could have done. You could find someone on Twitter who would give a better answer to that. And that's really who she was, as a rising star, somebody who a lot of people could project an ideology onto, but somebody who really didn't have an ideology. Again, a Pete Buttigieg type.
Well, I also think it's important to point out that when she had the power, after the 2008 financial crash, she had the opportunity, the law was completely on her side, to prosecute to the fullest extent of the law the man right now that's been in meetings negotiating on behalf of the Trump administration, Steve Mnuchin. He illegally foreclosed on millions and millions of people, not millions and millions of people, but when he was in the private sector on Wall Street, his company foreclosed on a lot of people. By the way, a lot of black people. Remember, 2008 financial crash, black people got disproportionately foreclosed on than white people. Steve Mnuchin, she could have prosecuted him. I mean, The Intercept did a great piece. It's right here. Kamala Harris fails to explain why she didn't prosecute Steve Mnuchin's bank. I could give you a few reasons why she didn't prosecute Steve Mnuchin's bank. I could also give you a few reasons why the bottom line is her slogan was for the people, but she didn't really have any. She really reminded me. Her campaign reminded me a lot of Hillary Clinton's campaign. There was a lot of incremental proposals that you could put on a website.
Personnel overlap.
A lot of technocratic, like technocratic policies. But at the end of the day, there was no bold vision. There was no bold vision because she doesn't truly understand. She says for the people, but her campaign was not out there with the people. She was literally doing, it was a race between Biden, Buttigieg, and Harris on who could massage more Wall Street donors' feet. I mean, I got this one story here, and I'm not making this up. This is not The Onion. This is from Bloomberg. This is Kamala Harris. When was this? Last year, I believe. Here we go. Subject, Democrats cozy up to Wall Street while shunning corporate cash. Oh, well, Wall Street's not corporate cash, I guess. Let me fast forward to Kamala. In February, Pete Buttigieg stepped into the Manhattan office of Wall Street veteran Charles Myers to talk politics over deli sandwiches. So at least they're down to earth with the deli sandwiches. Citigroup managing director Jan Kontlam hosted a fundraiser in March for Kamala Harris at his Fifth Avenue apartment, where she shook the paw of the banker's labradoodle. So this is who Kamala Harris was partaking with. Now, in fairness to Kamala Harris, she ain't the only one. It was Biden, it was Buttigieg, it was Klobuchar, it was all of them. But the point is, we're facing a Great Depression. You have a madman in the White House that you're trying to defeat, and we just chose someone who is completely and fairly open to attacks by Republicans for basically oppressing black people, keeping them in jail longer than they should have been. She was against marijuana legalization. Frankly, if you read the New York Times, there's been really devastating pieces against her of her knowingly keeping men in jail that were likely innocent, even though judges asked her to mediate those cases, meaning release these people. I just can't think of somebody that goes against the tide now as much as Kamala Harris. And before I give you the answer, before I get you to respond, I want to play one of the clips you found, which to me is just really beyond the pale of somebody getting enjoyment out of this. Here's Kamala Harris talking about why she was proud to go after single mothers for truancy.
Were it not for the education I received. And I know many of us will say the same thing. And I believe a child going without an education is tantamount to a crime. So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy. Well, this was a little controversial in San Francisco. And frankly, my staff went bananas. They were very concerned because we didn't know at the time whether I was going to have an opponent in my re-election race. But I said, look, I'm done. This is a serious issue, and I've got a little political capital, and I'm going to spend some of it. And this is what we did. We recognized that in that initiative, as a prosecutor and law enforcement, I have a huge stick. The school district has got a carrot. Let's work in tandem around our collective objective and goal, which is to get those kids in school. So, to that end, on my letterhead, now let me tell you something about my letterhead. When you're the DA of a major city in this country, usually the job comes with a badge. And there is often an artistic rendering of said badge on your stationery. So I sent a letter out on my letterhead to every parent in the school district, outlining the connection that was statistically proven between elementary school truancy, high school dropouts, who will become a victim of crime, and who will become a perpetrator of crime. We sent it out to everyone. A friend of mine actually called me and he said, Kamala, my wife got the letter. She freaked out. She brought all the kids into the living room, held up the letter, said, if you don't go to school, Kamala's going to put you and me in jail.
Walker, I give you the floor.
So this was a major push from Kamala Harris. One of her biggest, I guess, issues that she took on as DA and then later as AG is truancy. And actually, during her run for the United States Senate, she was still pushing this, like this. We got to go after truancy. We got to, because if we stop kids from missing school, we're going to have less crime and less criminals and less dead kids. And there is a certain logic to it. I tend to think that I think that this is another example of Kamala Harris looking at a systemic problem that we face. Overcriminalization and young people dying from acts of violence or violent crime, and thinking and sort of taking aim at that and then misfiring. Like if you want to reduce overcrowding in prisons and you want to reduce crime generally, then people need economic opportunity, and we need to stop criminalizing things like marijuana or selling a little bit of some whatever drug you want to put there, insert drug name here. Overcriminalization is really a driving force behind prison overcrowding and criminality in this country, and it's not something that Kamala Harris ever went after. In fact, she laughed when her opponent came out in favor of legalizing marijuana. She chuckled at the suggestion. And in another clip that I sent you, I'm not sure if you've played it, but she says, "You committed a crime, and I don't feel sorry for you." This is about bringing charges against first-time nonviolent drug sales offenders. Like, you've committed the crime, and I'm not going to forgive you for committing the crime. That attitude is bullshit. That attitude from law enforcement is why we have so many young people locked up and getting criminal records when they're young, and then getting indoctrinated into the system and continue and have their lives essentially ruined by something they did when they were very young. That's where it started. If you want people to not live lives that are plagued by criminality and poverty, then you can't criminalize them when they're young. And I think this is something that Kamala Harris has fundamentally missed her entire career. And it's something that when she is vice president, if she pushes this stuff, the left activists are going to have to get out there and hit the pavement and be very vocal about, because this stuff that you're seeing, these videos, that can't be who Kamala Harris is going forward. That has to be left in the past.
And just a reminder, folks, we've got over 1,000 people watching live. 500 of you have pressed that like button. Smash that like button. If you don't like me, do it for Walker. More people that press like, which is the thumbs up button right under the live stream, more people will see this. Also, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to this channel, please. So one of the components, Walker, that I find this to be very dangerous is you already have a 77-year-old man who's not going to change. Biden could say whatever he wants now, but fundamentally, Biden is the same guy who was railing on the Senate floor in the 90s about predators. He might have not said super predators, but he wrote the crime bill. He bragged about the crime bill. In 2016, when asked by CNBC, "Do you regret it?" he said absolutely not. To this day, currently, he denies that the crime bill ushered in mass incarceration. I've interviewed a lot of people that would quite strongly disagree. Brothers and sisters of theirs are sitting in jail because of Joe Biden and Bill Clinton. So you have that man. One of the things you would hope out of a vice president for a president like Biden is somebody who might be able to show him a different view. Somebody who might, be able, maybe they're simpatico on most issues, but might push him further away from over policing, over criminalizing. Biden is saying all the right things, that basically we need to tear down every bill that I put forward. I mean, he said we basically need to undo the bankruptcy bill that he did. He said we basically have to undo the crime bill, which he did. But you basically have somebody in Kamala Harris who basically agrees with all those things. I mean, we just saw it in that clip. So the K Hive can come after me or you, and woke.
Oh, they're already all over me.
Yeah, the woke nation can come after me, but
fuck them.
But fundamentally, Walker, I hate to say it, but there will be another black man strangled by a cop in front of our eyes. We're going to see that happen again. There will be.
Jordan, of course we are. You know what else we're going to see? We're going to see runaway climate change because Joe Biden doesn't have an adequate climate plan. No matter how many task forces he forms, the man is still in the pocket of corporate interest. At least to the extent that the type of systemic action that we need is not going to be done. That said, it may still be it's obviously not inspiring. It's not something that people on the left fought for, and it's frankly not something that people on the left deserve, because you represent more of the party than you are being represented by. You represent a larger share of the base than you do people who are elected. That is something that every leftist needs to hear. There are more people like you than Anyway, so it's up to you to get out there and stay active and keep pushing these people out. Kamala Harris, being the vice president, now opens up a Senate seat, and that's more impactful than having than the vice presidency. I mean, look, Harris and Biden are two people. The executive branch is powerful, but it's super important to fill the Congress and the Senate with lefties. And now there's an open Senate seat in California.
Walker, I got to stop you. I think you're putting the cart before the horse, because I think there's political ramifications here. I'll show you this poll, Walker, from today. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it's a Monmouth University poll. Monmouth has been pretty good. They compare clearly show Biden would most likely win if it were held today. But you got 3 debates, and a lot could happen in 3 months. My point is, putting aside whether, there's different people who think different things. There's a lot of people in my audience who are going to vote for Biden. There's a lot of people who aren't. I don't tell people how to vote. I understand both. I understand people that are going to hold their nose and vote for him, and I understand people who say to hell with it. I can't keep doing this. Lesser of two evils. Whatever, I'm not doing it. But what I am saying is, I do think this has the potential of hurting Biden. I do think this has the potential of being a net zero or a net negative for Biden.
I want to push back on that just a little bit, because we will probably have 200,000 people who have died from COVID by the time the election rolls around, and that is something that did not exist in 2016. Like this might hurt him in terms of people on the left. It definitely will dampen what little excitement there was for him among progressives, no doubt. But in terms of winning the election, there's a lot of negative partisanship out there. People want to vote against Donald Trump, especially as the economy crumbles, as people die, as their loved ones die. I mean, the numbers on COVID are just staggering. So I think, and to a certain degree, to a certain extent, people on the left, I think, feel good about this idea that we can be the deciders, that we can be the ones who swing the election. I don't really think it's going to be lefties who swing the election. It's going to be working class voters in the Rust Belt. The same people who always swing elections will swing this election. And I think that it's likely that Biden will win. It's possible that he won't. He's a terrible candidate, and he picked a terrible VP candidate. It's possible. But I think the more important point is just that anytime you have an election where the other side is somebody like Trump, somebody who is such a colossal failure, you're gambling. And you gamble when you do something like this that could drive down excitement for you. And why would you take that risk? I can't think of any good justification for it. It just seems like the establishment wants to ensure that it has a future. I don't know if it will. I think that the direction the country is going is quickly the water is quickly rising around that old establishment. But who knows? This move, yeah, that's where I'm at with this. At least that's what I'm telling myself, so that I don't scream futilely into the air.
Here is why, and again, this isn't because I want Trump to win. This is just my clear political analysis. Having been on the road for 2 campaigns now, and having known the numbers in 2016, contrary to popular mass propaganda, Hillary Clinton didn't lose because of Vladimir Putin. She also didn't lose because of James Comey. I've been saying this for 4 years because apparently nobody looks at data or exit polls. Hillary Clinton lost because in 2016, she got 5% less African Americans than Obama got in 2012. She got 5% less Latinos than Obama got in 2012. She got 6% less 18 to 29 than Obama got in 2012. Devil's advocate, one could say, well, of course she was going to get less black people than the first black president. But 5% drop is a significant drop. So we have those. That is why she lost. It wasn't Jill Stein. It wasn't Gary Johnson. It was depressed turnout among those 3 groups. So I look at Kamala Harris. You need someone, frankly, that could excite the base, because the actual nominee is not doing that. I mean, the polls have shown, I think Biden, like 26 to 30% of Biden supporters said they are strongly enthusiastic. We have learned.
Yeah, it's not. They're bleak. The numbers are bleak.
We have learned.
This could be a repeat of 2016.
We have learned.
I'm not ruling that out.
We have learned from 2016. We have learned from 2016. You can't vote. You can't win just running against someone. You have to inspire people to vote for something. To your point about, but it's different. We're going on 200,000 people dead, and this is the worst public health disaster. I can't remember anything worse. So it's going. It doesn't. You could run Biden as a corpse with Lucifer as his vice president, and that will win. Yes and no, because really, at the end of the day, the very people that are being screwed the most by this pandemic. I mean, obviously, the people being screwed the most are losing their lives and their families. So, the people that are living being screwed.
I understood what you meant.
Right. I'm just being clear. The very people that are being screwed the most are basically those 3 categories I just named. That is the reason Hillary Clinton lost. The young, black people, and Latinos. Both in health outcomes, black people and Latinos are being disproportionately harmed, and young people on economics. So I look at this and I say, all right, she's strong because she'll have a really strong debate against Pence. She is a good debater. I give you that. She's an okay public speaker. I don't find her that inspiring, but she won't kill him like on the stump. She could construct full sentences, so points for that. But Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, is she going to be the difference between that depressed turnout among younger black voters, younger Latinos, and younger white people? Obviously, a lot could change. I don't see it because the actual nominee is so weak. And I also think, he's a terrible person. He's a terrible president. Donald Trump is a brilliant politician. He's a snake oil salesman through and through. And I wouldn't put it past him to start in desperation doing some out-lefting Biden. I know it hasn't come yet, but I would not put it past him to throw out some strong crumbs, whether it's direct UBI, some form of Medicare. So I think right now, by picking Kamala Harris, you are pissing off the Black Lives Matter movement, who are I've covered these protests. They do not like Kamala Harris. You're pissing off.
I don't actually know if I've ever met somebody in real life who likes Kamala Harris.
I
as
have.
A politician.
And it's quite the conversation.
I think all of those things that you just said are true. I don't really see Kamala Harris as a strength in the Rust Belt. I don't think that she is going to turn voters out there. But what I will say is that she might not, fuck it up, as she might just be sort of a neutral pick for a lot of those voters, not necessarily an opposition pick. I don't know. Look, whatever happens. This I thought that this election cycle we would see Democrats sort of realize, okay, yeah, that centrist thing didn't really work out, and that we're stuck with Biden. So, what do I know? But in terms of Harris, I just think that we as a country should reward politicians who are ideologically good on the right track ideologically, and who have records that back it up, and who stand out on issues when it's not popular, when it's not easy, who do the right thing and get flack for it. And that's never been Kamala Harris. That was Bernie Sanders, but as we saw, that loses. I
want to play one more clip. You found this I think last year. This is at the Ideas Festival or something like that. I'm not even going to set it up. It's just beyond the pale what she had to say. Here we go. Is a credit to independent journalist Walker Bregman.
Peterson. Okay, so I say with all love and warmth that part of the concern also for people who are progressive thinking and liberal-minded, or just progressive thinking in terms of just fix it, is that we all have these posters in our closet that is attached to a stick that we sometimes will card out when we're talking about criminal justice policy and those statistics that you first heard when we opened it up, incarceration. And we run around with these signs, build more schools, less jails. Build more schools, less jails. And we walk around everywhere, build more schools, we protest, build more schools, less jails. Put money into education, not prisons. There's a fundamental problem with that approach, in my opinion. And it's this. I agree with that conceptually, but you have not addressed the reason I have 3 padlocks on my front door. So part of the discussion about reform of criminal justice policy has to be an acknowledgement that crime does occur, and especially when it is violent crime and serious crime, well, there should be a broad consensus that there should be serious and severe and swift consequence to crime.
Build more schools, less jails. So Walker, basically Kamala Harris was saying, I disagree with the proposition, or not that she disagrees with building more schools, but basically
mocking criminal justice protesters, and suggesting that they're naive and unrealistic. That's a doozy, isn't it? Well, really seems in line with the mood of the country at the moment.
Well, in fairness, that was many years ago, so maybe she's changed her view. I doubt it. But what I think is so telling about this, because again, these clips are going to be run by Trump and the RNC ad nauseum, especially on digital, so younger black people, younger brown people will be seeing this. But what to me is so much more damaging about that is what you talked about earlier. There's no awareness at all by Kamala Harris and yes, she was Attorney General, so that's a different position, at the true reason for crime. There's no nuance about maybe we should take different approaches to solving crime, like more social services, more better health programs, government jobs programs for single black or Latino mothers. It's all right. Crime is bad, crime is immoral, and you have to pay. And
this is what I was talking about.
Right. At a moment of defund the police, I don't know how she's going to walk these things back.
Well, this is what I mean when I say she looks at systemic problems and then misfires, or takes aim at the wrong thing. Like, I don't see Kamala Harris as somebody who ever really, who ever really prioritized taking on systemic issues over, advancing to the next office. And that's not. And people are going to accuse me of run the trope. Oh, she's too ambitious. She's not alone in this. There are a lot of politicians in D.C. who I think are like this. Joe Kennedy, Pete Buttigieg. who are not black women. But it just so happens that Kamala Harris is also that type of politician. The things that she did when she was DA or when she was Attorney General looked great on paper for the next election and didn't necessarily work out great for her constituents. And I think that that is something that people should be aware of. Democrats should be aware of, because even if she wins, if Biden and Harris win, Democrats are going to have to make sure that they don't do some really fucked up shit while in office. So, and if they do, hold them accountable.
Right.
Because the worst case scenario is that the worst case scenario, obviously, I think, is Donald Trump wins 4 more years. But the second worst case scenario is that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris win. They do, they don't do enough to alleviate the suffering that exists in this country at the moment. But B, they also do things that are detrimental and actively hurt people. And then in 4 years, when Joe Biden is no longer running for president, or whenever that is, Kamala Harris is the anointed successor, and people forget about it. Democrats circle the wagons and don't address these issues. Sort of like what happened after with Obama, that they circled the wagons. You can't criticize Obama. You can't, Right. I think that's very dangerous, because we have to deal with these issues. I mean, Jordan, we have 4 degrees of global warming that we are looking at by the end of the century, according to the United Nations, and that is a conservative estimate. At 3 degrees of warming relative to pre-industrial levels, Southern Europe is in a permanent drought. We're looking at hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of climate refugees, and that will fuel fascism. The scarcity, the crop belts are moving, and our food output declines by 10% for every degree of warming. So, we're looking at conditions that could easily give rise to a legitimate fascist who justifies their fascism by the scarcity caused by global warming and the ensuing refugee crisis. We need a Democratic Party that acts swiftly and boldly to deal with these issues, because not only does the country depend on it, the world could depend on it. Millions of lives depend on it. So I'm less concerned with the personality, I guess, of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They're just 2 politicians. What it comes down to is, what are they going to do, and how are we going to make sure that what they do is better than what they are inclined to do based on who they are?
Well, to me,
as people.
To me, and to be clear, I just want people to understand, because this is a lot of doom and gloom and critique of Kamala Harris. I mean, Donald Trump and the Republicans are corrupt as sin, racist. I mean, the whole thing. So it's not like, we're not. This is not like a credit to Trump or Republicans. But the thing that concerns me, moving off of the criminal justice aspect, is the economic aspect of this. Because to me, when you look at Kamala Harris, and we talked about it earlier, they didn't just pick his running mate. They're basically knighting the next president after Biden. That's who Kamala Harris, that's how they want the Ducks to end up, with Kamala Harris replacing Joe Biden. The problem is, the most dangerous politician is one without an ideology. I think Joe Biden is very, very pliable and flexible to whatever his donors want. And I think Kamala Harris, as the New York Times says, and her career has shown, has no core, I don't want to say has no beliefs, but doesn't have a guiding principle like a Bernie on Medicare for all or strong labor rights. She is going to be a prisoner of the status quo ruling class. She's not going to want to rock the boat. And I think even, not that progressives should not protest, organize, and all that, but if you think protesting Kamala Harris, if she became president, is going to get you Medicare for all, I don't feel confident on that, because I think Kamala Harris, again, both Biden and her, simply are too entrenched to the system. You have to remember, not that I'm asking you, Walker, but Kamala Harris came up quite similar as Nancy Pelosi in California. It was a lot of elbow rubbing with donors. Nancy Pelosi was the top donor. But Kamala Harris came up in California as district attorney in San Francisco because she wooed the donor class of California and San Francisco. And then she wooed more national donors. Obama was commenting on her during his second term, talking about the Attorney General of California. So she has come up not like protesting on the streets with protesters, but in the back rooms, swigging champagne and doing paw prints. That Bloomberg story, doing paw prints with Wall Street donors. Is she better than Trump on a lot of issues? Absolutely. But on the core issues, which is income inequality, which is only going to get worse right now, the climate crisis, criminal justice, I don't know if who do you have a better chance of lobbying, Trump or Biden and Kamala? I don't know if you can make a strong case that you have a better chance of convincing Kamala Harris and Joe Biden to move in a more progressive direction. What do you think?
I think you do on certain issues. I don't see Joe Biden budging on healthcare, and I think that is a really major, massive problem because in the middle of a pandemic that has cost 30 million people their jobs, has 40 million people facing eviction, has 5+ million people off their insurance, has hit and that's still spreading rapidly across the country. You have got to do something about healthcare in America. You can't have this private system. It just does not work. And I've spoken to multiple doctors about this. They all have told me that cost as a barrier to care makes it harder to contain outbreaks when they happen because people are like, oh, do I really need to go to the doctor? Or, and we're seeing across the country a rash of people who are dying at home because they don't go to seek care. That is a condemnation of our country. It is an embarrassment of the highest order on the global stage. And it's something that we have got to do something about. So, when I say that Joe Biden can be pushed left, I acknowledge that on this big, massive issue that he probably won't move left. And so I understand when Nina Turner says it's like eating half a bowl of shit. I sympathize. I understand it. But in terms of like climate change, yeah, I think Biden can be moved. He's already been moved a little bit. I think he can be moved further. And I think that it's going to take more people in the streets, from day one, but I think he can be moved on that.
I think on climate change, you might be right. I think on everything else, I don't agree because he's already shown you he can't be moved. He basically just showed you. He just gave a middle finger to progressives. Frankly, let's be real. He was not picking a black woman if not for George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. If that didn't happen, we'd be talking today about Amy Klobuchar, I think.
Yep.
So he did that not because he's doing this, not to me, because he has no choice. He cannot risk, basically, at a time like this, with this explosion and reckoning with civil rights, police brutality, he had to choose a black woman. I credit him for choosing a black woman. I'm just saying, he has shown you in terms of healthcare. During a pandemic that tens of millions of people cannot get healthcare right now, he is still saying Obamacare. He's showing you on police brutality. His proposal is to give police more money under the guise of community policing. So I think Biden, and I also think age is a factor. When you generally look at Trump, look at Biden, obviously Bernie's a different tale. You are who you are. He believes in a bygone era of Democrats and Republicans working together for bipartisan change. Tip O'Neill working with Ronald Reagan to crush unions and, all the terrible things of the 80s. So I know you're a little bit more optimistic than I am or hopeful than I am. I guess at the end of the day, the biggest problem I see here isn't just the criminal justice aspect. It's that Biden and her are two creatures in the same pond of different generations. I'm going to show you one story here. Kamala Harris set to raise money with former Wells Fargo executive who was heavily involved in the fake account scandal. This was from last year. She held a fundraiser with a former exec, Miguel Bustos, worked from 2013 to 2017 as Wells Fargo Senior Vice President, where he oversaw lobbying and community outreach, and was involved with the fake account scandal. So to me, listen, is Trump a servant to Wall Street? Yeah, look at his cabinet. Look at the tax cuts, of course. Would Biden be modestly better? Sure. Corporate tax rates will go up. He'll raise taxes on wealthy people. But the real thing is, taxes are really just a peripheral thing. That's not going to change fundamentally the gross income inequality in this country. He could raise taxes to 28%. That doesn't mean Jeff Bezos is paying those taxes. Doesn't mean Amazon's paying it, Walmart, and so on and so on. So I just think, honestly, I would have been happier with Susan Rice, who's not progressive, but at least she's not offensive to the voting blocks he needs. I just think it's a really short-sighted pick. I don't know why he made it, and we'll see how it goes. But for all the clips you found and all we know about her donors, her flip-flopping, the fact that she has moved away from policy she said she was for, the fact that she jumped on Bernie's Medicare for All bill when it was politically convenient and then backtracked within 24 hours, to me, the most dangerous politician, again, is one without ideology. Trump doesn't have a core ideology. He became a racist birther because he saw the Tea Party, right? He was a Democrat 10 years before that. He was pro-choice right. 10 years before that. He changes as he sees political expedience and as he sees the winds changing. I think Kamala Harris is similar, not on the racist end as Trump, but just going as the wind sails.
But look, it is worth mentioning, though, that Harris is somebody who during the primary endorsed a total ban on fracking, which is something that Joe Biden has repeatedly said he's not for. And you know, look, healthcare is a huge issue. Inequality is a huge issue. And they have to be dealt with simultaneously with climate stuff. But in terms of, you know, being able to move Biden, we can at least move him on the climate. And that is the biggest issue we face as a country, as a planet, as a species. It could wipe us out very, very easily. And people already around the world are starting to die from heat death in large numbers. The parts of the equator are going to be unlivable by mid-century. I mean, this is a serious issue. And I personally, I'm obviously disappointed in the pick. I think that as I've done a lot of reporting on Harris, I have no illusion about who she is. I'm well aware of who she is as a politician, but I do think that on the issue of climate change, there is a stark difference between Biden Harris on their worst days and Trump Pence.
That I agree with you 100%. Trump is way worse on the environment, which obviously we can't afford, to play around with climate change anymore. Walker, before I let you go, where can people find you?
You can find my work in David Sirota's TMI newsletter, or you can follow me on Twitter at Walker Bregman. And
I'm going to try to grow my hair out like you.
Well, I'm thinking of cutting it again. I got bored during quarantine. That's why I have this stuff going on.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you joining us. Keep digging through those tales.
And could I give a plug? Status Coup is now partnered with Opt-Out, so I'm really excited about that. So everybody watching, like the video, subscribe to Status Coup, and follow for updates on Opt-Out, a platform where you can get all of your left news.
You want to explain what Opt-Out is to people that might not know?
So we are starting, Alex Koch and I, investigative reporter Alex Koch, who wrote for Sludge and a number of other outlets. We are starting a sort of day-at-a-glance news aggregator app called Opt-Out, which doesn't feature any corporate media. It's all independent outlets and left-wing, from a left-wing perspective. And we're going to be curating sort of a day-at-a-glance important stories that we think deserve attention. And there will be more features than that. There will be original content as well. We have a podcast, Gilded Age, which is the first piece of original content for Opt-Out. So stay tuned. you can follow on Twitter at optoutapp. It's exciting.
Thanks, Walker. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jordan. Oh, and congratulations again, by the way.
Thanks. Appreciate it. All right. I would say Walker's a little bit more optimistic than I, so now it's time for me to give my official rant on this topic, because I think this is a disaster. I think that this is a slap in the face to me, to progressives. I think it's a slap in the face to young African Americans. I think it's a slap in the face to young Latinos. And most importantly, I think Joe Biden is laughing at the progressive movement right now by choosing Kamala Harris. I didn't expect him to choose Barbara Lee. I certainly didn't expect him to choose Nina Turner. I didn't expect him to choose anyone progressive. But what I did hope for was that Biden, and more importantly, the people around him, would understand the moment, understand the racial reckoning we are dealing with. I'm not black, obviously, so I can't pretend to understand the black struggle in America, but I do cover it a lot. I've been to Flint 15 times. The water is still toxic 6 years later. I've covered Black Lives Matter protests before George Floyd. I've been out there in the field covering black people being murdered, economic violence towards black people. This is an issue that I see on the ground all the time, and in a lot of cities I go to, the leaders are Democrats presiding over this. So to me, when they say do no harm with your vice presidential pick, I think Kamala Harris is potentially going to do Joe Biden harm, because you cannot, at a moment when black people are out on the streets literally protesting for their lives, literally marching in a pandemic because they think there's as good a chance they're going to die just going outside of the house than getting coronavirus. You choose somebody who, as Attorney General of California, basically said, I believe in building more jails than schools. You choose somebody that there's a track record, put black people in jail and kept both black and white people in jail, even when there was evidence that they were innocent, who was against legalizing marijuana, which is a criminal justice issue. I mean, from prosecuting single mothers, and you move off of criminal justice to clearly she is a cardboard cutout. Honestly, she reminds me a lot of Hillary Clinton. She doesn't really have any core beliefs. As far as I know, she's not really big on, I don't think she's as big of a warmonger as Hillary Clinton is, but she's certainly not somebody that, if president, she's getting us out of Afghanistan. She's going to stop us trying to overthrow other governments all over the country. She's going to stop us droning half the world. And why I say as president is because this is a very, very unique vice presidential pick, because there's a 50% chance, I would say, that this person might become president not in 2024, before 2024. Again, if you've been following Status Coup, and by the way, we might have some new viewers, please subscribe to this channel if you have not. By the way, real quick, we do have a promo going right now. If you sign up as a Status Coup member today for as low as $5 a month, you will get a free Status Coup mask. That's $5 a month. You'll get a free mask. StatusCout.com/join. If you sign up as an annual member to Status Coup, that's $179 annually. You will get a free Status Coup mask and shirt. So a little bit extra if you sign up annually, but signing up at $5 a month, you'll get a free mask. And right now we're at 1,714 members. So this is how we grow. This is how we're going to keep growing the money to go in the field. If you don't know Status Coup, real quick, let me play the quick promo video so you know who we are. We go out in the field. We've been all over this country in the last 2 years.
Standing Rock. I've been with you. I've been with you since Standing Rock.
Wow, you got me on right now. We're doing it, baby. We're going to South Bend. It's time to show the real Mayor Pete.
In 100 days, they tore down 1,000 houses in 100 days. thank you, whether it's Standing Rock or Flint or everything else you do. You know, you guys, it's not even like watching news. It's just watching truth, you know.
It's not me and you, Jordan. It's the ruling class. It's David Koch. It's the Walton family, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. It's them, not us, that benefit from these illegal offensive wars. Come on over here. Whoa!
We're here at the Bellagio in Las Vegas, and you are going to see live the actual caucus process. We are here.
We go out in the field, and we give the microphone back to the people.
Yo! Coup! I know who you are, yo!
How you doing, man?
You the man, yo!
So sign up, statuscoup.com/join. Get your free mask at $5 a month, or free mask and shirt at $179 annually. But to me, honestly, why this is such a bad pick, put aside the fact that who Kamala Harris is, which we've established over the last hour or so, it doesn't help Joe Biden. He was already getting the older African Americans to come out for him. Frankly, I think they would have continued to come out for him even if he chose a white person. They would have been pissed, but at the end of the day, they would have held their nose and come out for Joe Biden. I think he would have gotten older white people to come out for him. That's not who he needed to attract with the vice presidential pick. He needed somebody who could potentially help him in swing states. I don't think Kamala Harris does that. She ran a terrible campaign. She had to drop out before her own home state. So I don't see the draw there. I don't think Kamala Harris is really inspiring black people under 50. Definitely not black people under 40, who are not going to just say, oh, he picked a black person, we're voting for Joe. That's not how the younger generation works. They actually look at policy. They actually look at people's voting record, which is why Bernie Sanders took off the way he did. Because young people are not party loyalists. They're not till death do you part to the Democratic Party. They are going to care about Kamala Harris's record. They are going to care about her servitude to Wall Street. So yes, is it historic that a black woman is on the ticket? Yes, I think that's great. But again, I don't think this is changing the game for Biden to attract the people that Hillary Clinton did not get. Those young black people, those young brown people, and young people age 18 to 29. So, will she be a good debater? Yeah, I think she's a good debater. Is she going to inspire people through rallies? Yeah, the people already voting for Biden, not the people, certainly not the people on the fence that we're talking about. Around the Bernie wing, the people who voted for Bernie, my guess is 75 to 80% of Bernie Sanders voters will end up voting for Biden. But it would be a lot better if you got 90 to 95% of Bernie Sanders supporters. I think there's going to be at least 10 to 15% of Bernie Sanders supporters that do not vote for Joe Biden. And this decision, like Hillary Clinton choosing Republican Tim Kaine, who is essentially a Republican, Tim Kaine, I think this decision is basically Joe Biden taking progressives for granted, just like Hillary Clinton did. Joe Biden's campaign has literally taken the same route that Hillary Clinton's campaign has taken. Actually, they've taken even further along in, instead of courting progressives, courting moderate Republicans, which I'm sorry to tell Joe Biden and the whiz kids around him, there's not enough moderate Republicans in the country to decide the election for you. They either won't vote or they'll hold their nose and vote for Trump. The Lincoln Project is only 5 people. The moderate Republicans, like John Kasich, who in a normal era is an extremist who tried to shut down Planned Parenthoods in Ohio, pushed fracking, tried to kill labor unions. That's who the Democratic Party is having speak in a primetime slot at the DNC convention. So remember this clip, because to me, remember this day, remember this live stream, because to me, this is deja vu from 2016. And I think that Kamala Harris is very similar to Tim Kaine. It's a big middle finger to the progressive movement. It's telling you, we don't need you. We're not going to pick anybody that is even proposing the policies you, the progressive movement, have demanded. We're not going to pick anybody that's even close to you on criminal justice, defunding the police, legalizing marijuana. And we're going to pick somebody that clearly is not in a rush to change anything about the toxic effect of money in politics. Because show me the money, Lebowski. It's the money, Lebowski. Look at her. Look at who she takes money from. All of her donors are the same people funding Joe Biden right now. They're Wall Street, the fossil fuckers, Big Pharma, real estate developers, Silicon Valley, and the rest. So although I understand what Walker was talking about, and I completely agree, we got to get rid of Trump, I'm a little different because I cannot tell you with a straight face that I think Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be significantly better than Trump. I think on the environment, they will, because I think Trump is really, really, really dangerous environmentally. Biden's not a environmentalist. He's for fracking, so let's not pretend Biden is good. But I don't think Biden would repeal every single clean air regulation that Trump has repealed, clean water. I don't think he's that bad. But on Wall Street and the economic order, when I say the economic order, I mean the status quo. I mean what this country really is, the United Corporations of America. If you're new to status quo, that's what we have. We don't live in a country. We live in the United Corporations of America. The main difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, the main difference between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, is Joe Biden's going to raise corporate taxes a little bit. Joe Biden's going to raise the top income tax bracket a little bit. He's going to give more tax incentives to middle class people. But is he going to do a massive government jobs program like FDR did on the heels of a Great Depression? Hell no. Is Kamala Harris going to propose that? Hell no. Is Joe Biden or Kamala Harris going to say, you know what, times are different, tens of millions of people are without health care, we cannot, with a straight face anymore, say we should have a private health care industry with your health care tied to employment? No, they're not. They're going to continue to push expanding Obamacare and a public option, which is still going to be too expensive for most people. Criminal justice. Are they viscerally as racist as Trump? No, they're not. They're not going to tweet racist things. They're not going to say racist things. But on policy, are they going to do things that are going to significantly help struggling black communities, inner cities that have never gotten a real hand? No, they're not. And they already have a built-in rationale for why they're not going to take big, drastic action. And they're going to say, we have no choice. It's going to take years to dig ourselves out of the mess that Trump put us in, internationally repairing our image, domestically repairing the damage he did. They've got a built-in excuse. So I'm not telling you who to vote for. You vote for whoever you want. I've said that from day one. I understand people that hold their nose and say, I can't stand Joe Biden, but I want to get rid of Trump, and that's why I'm voting for Joe Biden. I get it. I'm not shaming you. But I'm also not going to shame people who say, you know what, this system is corrupt. The system is the problem. And yes, I hate Trump. I think he's dangerous. But if we keep continually voting for bought-off Democrats, nothing's ever going to change because they're going to know they don't have to do anything for us because we're always going to vote for them anyway. I understand both sides. But what I'm here to tell you on the political end of things, what Joe Biden just did might be a net zero, but might be a net negative. I think Susan Rice would have been a better choice for him. Not that I support her, but I think it would have been a better choice. I think Karen Bass would have been a better choice. I think Tammy Duckworth would have been a better choice. Gretchen Whitmer probably would have been a better choice, even though she's white. I think Kamala Harris. The people that are going to be excited about Kamala Harris were already voting for Joe Biden anyway. That's the truth. And now we'll see. Does progressive media tell the truth about Kamala Harris? Will major progressive outlets that call themselves independent tell the truth about Kamala Harris? Or are they going to say, well, yeah, she's not my choice, but Trump? Because I can tell you, having covered, again, I was on the ground before George Floyd, before Breonna Taylor. speaking of, as an update, I spoke with Breonna Taylor's aunt today, who I interviewed when I was there in Louisville covering that. Welcome, new Status Coup member, Brandy. Oh, Brandy. We're now at 1,715 Status Coup members. And just to let you know how it's going to work, welcome, Brandy. If you sign up this week, whatever your level, we'll reach out to you and coordinate getting you that free mask or free mask and shirt. As a reminder, if you sign up as a monthly member, you could sign up as a monthly member for $5 a month, $10 a month, or $20 a month. You get different perks at each level. Or you sign up as an annual member at $179 annually. You'll get a free mask and shirt. We'll take care of it. So just sign up. Once you sign up as a member, you could watch exclusive videos just for members at statuscoup.com and click on member content. That's where you get all of the behind the scenes videos we do for members. Also, we do a monthly members call, which we will be doing the monthly members call for August later this week. And we'll have plenty to talk about with this vice presidential pick. The monthly members call is through Zoom. So sign up as a monthly member or an annual member before. I think we're going to do it Thursday. I'll have to talk to Jen, but I'm thinking Thursday. Sign up as a member, and you'll be invited to the Zoom call. You'll get the link that day on Thursday. It's always a ton of fun. So before I go, tell me, what do you think? Am I being too harsh? Am I not being harsh enough? Is there things I'm missing about Kamala Harris? I can't sugarcoat it. I don't think this is a good pick. I think it's a terrible pick, actually. I also think it's Joe Biden laughing at progressives. It's Joe Biden laughing at Bernie Sanders with these unity task forces. Well, if you actually believe Joe Biden was going to follow through with any of the things that were brought up in that unity task force, I give you Kamala Harris as his vice president. So, let me read the comments. Kelly, you're telling the truth. I will always tell the truth. Don't forget to talk about power chats. Yes, we did get a ton of super chats. I missed a lot of them because I didn't want to keep interrupting Walker. We'll try to go through and read them tomorrow, but I'll read new ones if they come in. It's just I can't get to all of them because YouTube, after a while, you can't read them anymore. They get lost. But let me read a few that I see. Denise Columbia, $5. The old guard who are in control of our government are so out of touch with the people they can't even see. I think that's what this shows. Neil Madero, $10. This explains Tulsi's exit from electoral politics. Has anyone checked in on her today? All I see is her tweets. I haven't seen anything else from Tulsi. Natural Earth Farm, $5. See if you can get an interview with Mark Charles, a Native American running for president. Mark Charles, Native American running for president. I will write that down after this. Let's see. All right, I think I got them all. 222. Possible Kamala Harris. Cheesy Horde. Possible Kamala Harris as actual president when Biden drops dead in the first or second year. I think it's less likely that I don't know, I'm not God, but I don't know if it's going to be Biden drops dead. It might be Biden is no longer mentally competent to serve as president. That might happen before 4 years. So that's why I started this by saying this is not just a vice presidential pick. You know, this is something more than that. This is somebody who potentially could be president in less than 4 years. COVID-19 for president? No. Whoever said that? No. YouTube does have an awful super chat system, so I apologize if I missed your super chat. I could go back after this live stream and screenshot them and then read them tomorrow. Time to rage against the U.S. owners, the corporations. I totally agree. That's why we are living in the United Corporations of America. Absolutely. Kelly, Elaine, it is the oligarchy. It's the oligarchy laughing at progressives, just like Bill Obama did when they nailed us at John Lewis's funeral. It's in our faces by Dems now. It was just reps. Crunchy Sauce, you were saying something about Breonna Taylor's aunt. Yes, I was about to show you something, and then I lost my train of thought. So we were in the field a couple weeks ago. I interviewed Breonna Taylor's aunt when I was out there in Louisville with Jen, and I've kept in contact with her. She tells me that 5 months after Breonna Taylor's murder. Mayor of Louisville, Greg Fisher, as well as the Kentucky Attorney General, who is now in charge of the murder investigation, have not provided the Taylor family any update on the investigation. Mayor Fisher of Louisville has not even contacted them. The Kentucky Attorney General has not contacted them to give them any update on where the investigation is at, if charges will be coming, if there will be no charges, if they're even investigating anymore. There has been absolutely zero communication between Kentucky's mayor, Louisville's mayor, and the Kentucky Attorney General. She told me, quote, "It comes across as if they don't care." The other thing she told me, which I find even more disgusting, Kentucky Democratic Senate nominee in Kentucky, Amy McGrath, has still never reached out to Breonna Taylor's family. Bianca, her aunt, told me crickets. Crickets from Amy McGrath. It's almost like these Democrats play to lose. It's almost like these Democrats play to lose. Imagine that. Sleeping in bed one night, police come in, they barge in with a battering ram unannounced, they start your boyfriend because you don't know who it is. You think you're about to be killed. People intruding in your home in the middle of the night. Shoots at the police. The boyfriend is then charged with murder or attempted murder. Thankfully, that was dropped. Breonna Taylor is killed. It came out later that she was alive for a few minutes and they did not provide her any medical attention. No medical attention at all. Before she died, she didn't die instantly. The police lied on their police report, saying that they did not intrude without announcing themselves, saying that there was no injury. The woman died. They wrote no injury. 5 months later, only one of 3 officers has been fired. Only one of those 3 officers has been fired. 3 of the 3 officers, not one of them, have been charged with anything. And the Louisville mayor, the Attorney General of Kentucky, they have not reached out to the family once. Neither has the Kentucky Democratic nominee for Senate. And of course, Mitch McConnell hasn't either. So that's the update. But I keep in touch with Breonna's aunt. So let me read a couple more comments. By the way, for anyone new here, you could join our text list because YouTube tends not to like to notify people when we're live. They like to hide us in a cave most of the time. So you could join our text list so you get a text message when we're live by texting COUP to 370-370. That's COUP to 370-370. We'll only text you when we're live. We will not text you to tell you when we're hungry, when we're sad, when we're happy, nothing. Just when we're live. You could also go to statuscoup.com and enter your email so you'll get emails when we have breaking news or announcements on our next field trip and those kind of things. Jacqueline DeBlue, 20 pounds across the pond. Jordan, I may be naive, but will Oprah's support help at all? Again, Oprah's target demographic is not black people under 40 or Latinos under 40 or Bernie Sanders supporters. People who love Oprah are generally people my parents' age. It's no knock on Oprah. I mean, I don't have a problem with Oprah. But I don't think Oprah supporting Biden or Kamala is going to, galvanize the Black Lives Matter movement that a black billionaire says vote for them. I don't think it's going to galvanize criminal justice reformers, Bernie Sanders supporters. I don't think so. I think young people are smart. Young black people are smart. Young Latinos are smart. Young white people are smart. They grew up on the internet and social media. They know how to Google. They know people's records. They know people's donors. So I don't think Oprah will help. Oh, were you talking about Breonna Taylor? Oh, I totally missed that. I thought you were talking about Kamala Harris and Biden. Do I think Oprah will help? Yes. What she's referring to is Oprah purchased, I don't know the number, but a lot of billboards around Kentucky and Louisville demanding justice for Breonna Taylor. So yes, I think Oprah will help in that. If Oprah raises a stink, in media if she does interviews on this. I think there's a documentary in the works. I don't know if that's coming from Oprah or not. Bottom line, if Oprah raises a stink, that leads to media interviewing Oprah on this, which puts pressure on the Kentucky Attorney General. Because make no mistake, a lot of times criminal charges come because of a story getting bigger in the media. So yes, I do think Oprah can make an impact on the justice for Breonna Taylor. I do not think Oprah will make an impact on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris versus Trump. Can we, Jedi Knight, can we get free Medicare for all if we sign up with Status Coup? I can't promise you free Medicare for all, but right now I can promise you a free mask if you sign up today and this week. Statuscoup.com/join. To be clear though, these are not CDC approved masks. We are not telling you these are the best masks on planet Earth. They're cotton. We are telling you they will cover your nose and mouth. And by the way, don't forget to go to the Status Coup store anyway. There's Mary Taylor sending us her shirt. So I tell viewers, once you get the masks, once you get your shirts, other Status Coup gear, email me, info@statuscoup.com. That's info@statuscoup.com. Send us pictures of you and your Status Coup swag. We will tweet it. By the way, it's a little early. It's summer now, but I did just get in the mail my Status Coup hoodie. Can't wait. I lost my last Status Coup hoodie. So there's the Status Coup hoodie. Jen will put the link to the Status Coup swag store in the super chat. You could also just go to statuscoup.com, click on store. We got a lot of goodies there for you. I'll show you real quick. You could get in the Status Coup store, Status Coup shirts, Status Coup tote bags, Status Coup long sleeves, pillow top, Status Coup mug in the morning for your tea, coffee, or other substances, Status Coup poster, phone cover, workout pants, tank top for the beach. Oh my God, the choices are endless. Status Coup, I think we have stickers too, because I just got one. Yeah, Status Coup stickers. So definitely check out the Status Coup store. This is another way we grow. So, let me read some others. 222, nice swag, that's right. Kamala, it was a debate, haha. Yes, and obviously we see Kamala doesn't have much standards because she went at Biden very hard during the debate about Biden basically working with a staunch segregationist, Strom Thurmond, about how Biden was stopping busing. She was stopping little girls like Kamala Harris. I thought that was a great attack by Kamala Harris. I actually thought it was genuine. But obviously, she was able to put aside that she's now joining somebody who basically was instrumental on oppressing black people. Status Coup hoodies will sell during the upcoming long, cold COVID winter. Unfortunately, I think you're right. Status jock strap. We don't have status jock straps. No thongs yet, but we do have other things. Jordan asked for money because he doesn't want to have to ask for it from shady money assholes. Yeah, by the way, for those people that complain, stop asking for money, go away. If you'd rather me be like other outlets and claim to be progressive, but then sell you out behind closed doors by taking massive money from nefarious sources, no. But we are people-powered. We are a membership model. That's why I'm trying to push membership, because we have a high bar. We go out in the field. An average reporting trip costs us between $2,000 to $3,000 for myself, a cameraman. You got flights, hotel, rent a car, food. It costs money to do real reporting. So, sorry if you don't like us asking viewers to fund real independent reporting, but I won't apologize for it. And I loved it. The other day, somebody wrote, like, Jordan's scamming you. He doesn't need the money. His family's rich and he's rich. I'm like, do you have some bank account that you could send me that I'm unaware of, that I'm rich? And my family's rich? Please. My family is, my parents are hanging off a thread right now. They have a small mom and pop jewelry store on Long Island, and they are devastated during coronavirus. They're barely hanging on. And if I had all this money, why would I be working 7 days a week and doing GoFundMes? These people. TYT was denied credentials at the convention. I saw that. 222. Unfortunate. You would think if you didn't challenge Democrats like TYT basically doesn't do anymore, if you, at the debates TYT went to, I didn't see any clips of them challenging anybody. You would think if they basically went along to get along that they'd be fine, but oh well. Joshua Jenkins, $5. If Biden loses, people will drink themselves to death. Possibly. The wine moms will be drinking a lot of wine if he loses. Jonas F, $5. I hate Biden and Kamala so much. That is all. Keep pushing, Jordan. I will. Since 1990. So you don't go to do everything. Okay. What? Oh no! All that money I gave you, Jacqueline DeBlue. What are you talking about? We've used that, Jacqueline. We've been using your money and then some. We so appreciate your support, Jacqueline, from across the pond. It's really helped us. Actually, your support was instrumental in us purchasing that live view, so thank you. Artificial Morphison, $50. Thank you so much, Artificial Morphison. My ex-educated hippie female boss just posted this on Facebook. I'm so excited, I think I might cry. Kamala Harris is inspiring, intelligent, thoughtful, and a black woman. I can't wait to vote this fall. I blame NPR and PBS. Listen, I totally understand black people being excited. I mean, I'm a white person, so I'm not going to white-splain. I think it is historic that a black woman has been added to a presidential ticket. I just think this is the wrong black woman. I mean, that's the honest truth. I don't think being a black woman is enough. We are in a devastating time economically. We're going to have a massive increase in homelessness. We're going to have a massive increase in income inequality, which was already gross and ungodly. I mean, I showed this yesterday. Just look at this. This is only till 2015, by the way. There is no chart after that. That red line is all the money the 1% has stolen from you. That blue line is you. You think Biden and Kamala is going to turn that around rapidly? Here's the wage growth. Henry, congratulations on the engagement. It's wonderful to find the right person to share your life with. So I hear. It is, and it took a long time. And I've been where other people are that haven't found that person yet. Before I met Anat, I was ready to call it a day and, get a dog and call it a day because I just wasn't finding the right person. So I'm very, very lucky, and I appreciate the kind words everybody sent in. All right. I think that's about all. Obviously, I will be live tomorrow, same time, 4:30 Eastern Time, 1:30 Pacific. Again, if you're new to Status Coup, subscribe to this channel. Tell your friends, tell your family, everybody. Press that subscribe button. YouTube, unfortunately, suppresses this channel and other independent channels, so it is super, super important. Word of mouth does actually make a difference. So please support Status Coup. Subscribe. Obviously, we are in devastating economic times, so if you cannot support us as a Status Coup member, if you cannot support our GoFundMe, which, by the way, we're currently less than $7,000 away from our ultimate goal, this GoFundMe is for in-the-field reporting. It is to give us the funds to go in the field, cover stories that other people aren't covering, is helping us advertise, which we finally have been advertising thanks to this GoFundMe, which is helping. We're almost at 88,000 subscribers on YouTube. If you don't have money to support us as a member, if you don't have money to support our GoFundMe, it costs you nothing to tell people, subscribe. It costs you nothing to share our clips. It costs you nothing to comment on our clips. All of these things help. It costs you nothing to follow us at Status Coup on Twitter. We're almost at 43,000 followers on Twitter. These things everybody can do. So thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace out.